Ouch. Welcome. Welcome to Can Angels Fly Tarot Live. I'm Nancy. How you doing, Emily? How is this evening going for you? I just came here to give up some updates. I'm gonna wait a few minutes to see if the live stream's health strengthens and if other people drop by. Then we can have a little discussion. I can bring you up to date. Hi, Jocelyn. How are you? Um, I'm hanging in here. It's been a pretty uneventful day. It's the same old, same old. So I cannot complain. I can say I've heard that Michigan, Detroit area is expecting a big snowstorm. I can't wait to see that because we were doing good. We didn't have any snow thus far this year. So I was happy with that. But when it snows, oh, that's a whole nother experience. Whole nother experience. And I don't have any script or anything. I'm not talking about anything, extensively. So if you have any burning questions, you can pose them if you have any questions. I'm not looking for it. I'm like a bear. Exactly. When it get cold and snowy, I can't take it. When I was young, it didn't bother me. Uh, I would be out in the elements and never thought a second time about it. But now that I've gotten older, it's not the same. It's not fun. It's not magical anymore. And my joints start hurting and stuff, so I can't be messing around with that kind of stuff. What I'm interested in, though, just talking this live stream, I wonder why my audience is not growing with the live stream. Is there a place like when you visit YouTube? Is there a place that you go to find like anybody live streaming or, you know? I'm wondering because my um, live audience isn't growing at all. I don't see any growth, and I don't know how to help it grow. Heck, I really don't even know how to look around on YouTube. The only way I personally activate or find videos on YouTube is, like I said, after I create them. The topics that I cover, I guess there are various keywords, and it'll start suggesting videos based on what I've made. But other than that, I can barely find videos. I'm subscribed to a few people, and of course I get some notifications of their work, but it's limited. And if I click and watch one of their productions or creations, then it may suggest other people that have similar videos that happen sometime. But most of the time, I just get a whole list of their videos and what they've created. Maybe I'm using YouTube wrong. I don't know. Do you have a social media? I do. I have Facebook, and I only have a few friends over there on Facebook, and I don't go over there much. I'm guilty. I invited all my YouTube friends over to Facebook, but I don't even go over there. But I got a few friends. I got to go visit them. I don't know that I was just scrolling through my subscriptions list, most recent posts, and the lives going show up in that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen it over there like that. Okay. Hey, Nancy, how you doing? Happy Friday. Oh, it is Friday, isn't it? I done lost track of the days. What is my new lover like, and is she near? Let's see. We can ask. We could ask y'all and see what's going on. Because I just came on here, briefly to just catch up to see what's going on in y'all lives and to bring y'all up to date about the impact the government shutdown is having on society. It only says one person here, but it's more than that. Yeah, and that's what I say. Sometimes the counter will show no people. Sometimes it'll show, like right now, I see 4, and it varies. But I have a few more people talking in the chat than actually what is being shown. So I don't know. I send text to people who like live streams. Oh, okay. You can text them that information. You see 4? Okay. Yeah, now I see 5. They coming in. I'm focusing on love things. Glad to have Detroit in the house. Definitely. You share my videos, so thank you, Emily. I sure enough need those shares. Yeah, love. I would like to have a discussion about love, but I don't know what to talk about when it comes to love. I really don't. I haven't heard much about effect of the government shutdown. Yeah, it's having its effect across the country, actually. Let's see about the lover. What's here? The temperance card would suggest impatience, overindulgence. You ask, are they near? It just seems like, again, the temperance card in verse represents a person being impatient. So I think that is directly directed to you, Yoni. Practice patience. Practice patience. Because your eagerness is like kind of throwing you out of sync. And when I say throwing you out of sync from what? The type of significant other you really want. It almost seems like this temperance card in verse is just a state of eagerness about bringing love into your life or having love come into your life. You may inadvertently summon something that you hadn't imagined for yourself. So practice patience. So what I'm still accepting any burning questions you may have. You can post them at any time. But the update that I wanted to share about the government shutdown and what it's affecting in society, it has to do with a visit I had to my local grocery store again. I've been single for 7 years, still looking though. I done gave up looking. I'm just I'm here when love wants to come captivate me. I ain't ready. I need to take that back. It got to be right. I'm gonna come back to that. Let me talk about the conversation I had with the people at the grocery store yesterday. I think it was. The grocery stores have been really, really, really crowded, and I'm talking to the cashier. I'm like, why is it so crowded? I'm standing in the store, couple of items in my hand, and it's all of these people. You know how frustrating that is. So I'm like, okay. And so when I get up there, I'm talking to the cashier, and she, informs me as well as other people online that the state of Michigan released recipients of food benefits or supplemental foods. I don't know what they call it, food stamps. You know what I'm saying? Release their benefits early. I was like, really? So I get some. So I ran home to find out they gave me an additional. Well, they didn't give me an additional. They gave me, they gave me February's benefits this month. So I'm like, no wonder the stores are crowded. So the update is that, and I had seen it on YouTube, and I think it was in Georgia. It was in Georgia or it was Georgia. I want to say it was in Georgia that that state had began to issue out supplemental food assistance benefits for the month of February in this month of January. And on the video I saw, it said for people, of course, not to abuse or misappropriate their funds because they would not be getting any additional benefits come February. Now that was about 5 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, I saw that. So yesterday, when I go in the store and I'm seeing it's crowded, that's what I find out. So, I rush home and get my card and go buy what I tell y'all, some beans, some rice. I'm not playing with my little $70. So anyway, yesterday, yeah, and then after that, my cousin ended up calling me, telling me that they had gave her 16. She gets $16, and another cousin gets 25. They are older ladies. And so I was like, wow, yeah, I just found that out. And so in the state of Michigan, so I'm starting to think that it may be kind of like nationwide, that the states have decided to advance food stamp or food supplemented families benefits a month in advance, because I don't think the government really believe at all that the government shutdown is going to end, because that's to me, that's a drastic move to say, okay, we have no evidence at all. We're talking about on a professional level, on a government level, with officials. We have no evidence at all that the government is going to open back up. This government shutdown is going to be prolonged. I think I read somewhere at last week, this was the second longest government shutdown in history. And so since we're going, I think today is the 28th day, we're actually going into a whole month of the shutdown. And as it seems, the government shutdown may not be ending before the end of this month. Why am I bringing this up and telling all my business? Is that I was just so shocked that the state departments over food assistance would determine, the heads of our states would determine that the potential is so high for the government shutdown not to end, but be prolonged to the point that they distributed supplemental food benefits 1 month early, with the message of do not abuse or misappropriate your funds, because these funds are for next month. You won't be getting any more. And I'm trying to get something out. And I thought it was also interesting that was a notification that was I guess given to people. I end up going on the site to see what it has to say. So I'm assuming it's being spread through word of mouth. Don't mess up or misappropriate your funds. And so my issue is, what they didn't say is, can a recipient or beneficiary leave their benefits on the card once the February's is uploaded on it? Can they leave them on the card, until they use them up, even if they don't use them until February or late February or the time that they get their stamps? Or will they be lost in February? They didn't clarify that. And another reason I'm talking about this and giving this update and giving my information to let you know, I know what I'm talking about. I keep my ear to the street. I'm into everything. I'm everywhere. Is that in the last live stream, I think it was a live stream I did about the government shutdown, I was talking about how it appears that the government shutdown is a move to inflict the working class, the government agents and things, to make them weak and vulnerable, to make them desperate. So whenever the government come to turn against the people, the rest of the people, that these people won't be a problem. They'll do their jobs because they don't want to ever be in the situation they are now. I talked about in that last live stream how all of these, you know, I guess you can say entry level or low level government officials and people that hold these various positions, they they're just human, so they're susceptible to the human condition. They got their shortcomings, their weaknesses, their desires, and their various issues and things like that. And so to be without money and security for a month would be devastating. It has to be devastating. And so again, it's to me, I feel like it's kind of like psychological warfare. So yesterday when I found that out, and I found out why the markets were so crowded, I started asking the question. I'm still standing there talking to the clerk. I'm telling you, I know the people's mad, but I had to wait in line for my time, so I was mad, and I wanted to know what was going on, how these people doing all this shopping and got all this money, and I'm standing here with these two little items. I was pissed. And so the person says, that's crazy on the government. They love to create stress. They creating stress. This is where I'm going, Yoni. So I'm standing there when it's my turn. I'm talking to the lady at the register, and I'm finding, and the customers, so I'm finding out about, I'll call it the reload. I was like, oh, reload, okay, yeah, okay. Well, heck, I can get more than what I got. So I come home, go online, look everything up, find out truth about what's going on, talk to my cousins and different things like that. I said, okay. But while I'm still standing there holding the conversation, I keep trying to jump around, holding the conversation, one of my questions was, oh, no, that ain't what happened. That ain't what happened, y'all. No, that's why I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, so I found out about it. I come home, look online, check to see if I got my little $70 replenished. and I called, my cousin called me, and so we called each other. I go back to the store because it was some other stuff that I wanted. It was a blessed day. So I go back to the store, and that's when I had the conversation. It was with the same cashier. And my question to her was like, well, if the stores are so crowded right now because people have their benefits ahead of time, number one, so that must have been when I asked her was asking about can they stay on there or not, and it wasn't online or anything. Everything was just moving fast yesterday, y'all, because yesterday I was so shocked, so I apologize. But I'm trying to share a thought that I had, that I actually shared with the cashier. And so I was like, the store is so freaking crowded to, that was, can you leave your benefits on your card, your EBT card, until February, or do they not roll over, or do they expire if the things aren't renewed, the contracts aren't renewed in February? Can you leave them sitting there? That was a question I couldn't get answered. The other thing was, it was so many people, and I started thinking about all over the nation. Now I only know about the state of Michigan because I live here, and the one video I saw here on YouTube that had to do, I want to say, what did I say? I don't know, Carolina, Virginia, whoever it was. Georgia, I think it was. So I only know about them too. But I'm assuming that it's, nationwide, at least whatever states offer some type of food assistance. And so my question was like, well, I'm getting my own self confused. Bad memory, y'all. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna slow down so I catch up. Oh, my question was like, what effect? Remember, I was talking about how it seems like the government shutdown is an attempt to, like, weaken their employees, to have them bend to their will, the governmental will, in the future, in relationship to future events, possibly against the rest of humanity. Meaning they need their police still to be in play. They still need the military to be in play. They need the government workers to be in play. Because if they're not in play, if they don't have them under control, there's no way that they could pull an okey doke over humanity, or over the United States citizens. There's no way. So they got to make sure they got them people on deck, and they're doing so now by taking them through a hard time. But when I was at the market holding that conversation, I also realized with all the people there that, remember I was talking about in another live stream how I had been already noticing that the food movement was slowing down. How I have in my neighborhood's a very nice market, always have been. Talk about how nice the people are and everything, and how all of a sudden they start having food that was expiring or soon to expire, rolling old meat inside of new meat so they can get the sale off. They was just doing stuff I've never known them to do. And so the whole thing, food has been moving slower. I think it's a little slower, something like that. But if everybody, I know I'm just trying to get out, if everybody's doing all of their shopping this month, the grocery stores this month will gross more than they normally would in a month's time or a 30-day or 31-day time period. So when February comes, the stores, the flow of customers to the various food distributors, grocery stores, is going to slow down tremendously, slow down to a crawl. And so this is the question I'm having with the cashier. They can get to talk to the owner. I'm gonna go back and talk to him about it. But so next month, when the flow of customers slow down to a crawl because everybody already spent their benefits for February, what effect does that have on food prices, if any? And what was the other thing? Oh, and what about the employees? Now that's just my grocery store. I'm talking about if this move to try to protect people that receive supplemental food assistance. I'll say if this move that the state, say to Michigan, maybe all the states, I'm saying hypothetically all the states, move to do in order to safeguard those people that receive the supplemental incomes is successful, is that what I'm trying to say? Then understand that people don't even have clarity about should they spend it all now, so that it won't be gone later on, or can you just hold it on to the car? So I'm going with what I saw and what I experienced. People were spending, the lines was long and the baskets was full. They spent their little money and got bulked up. And so next month, when everything is moving slow, what effect is it going to have on the prices of food, if any? And we know that overall, I was saying across the nation, that if this is happening just in the state of Michigan, if it's just happening in the state of Michigan, that would suggest that next month there won't be that rush of customers, right? So what about the employees? That suggests then people going to be like temporarily laid off until, the government comes back up or there's another distribution of food stamps. Now, remember in the other live stream I did, I think I cited that there are 42 million people, I guess, in the United States, if I recall right, that receive some type of supplemental food assistance. And so we're talking about, I keep losing my line of thought, 42 million people. See, at that time, maybe they're going to do something a little different. I don't know. But what I'm talking about right now, kind of scatterbrain, is that there are, when I did that quote, that citation in my last live stream, a live stream or so ago, talking about how many people receive public, food services. I'm just say food stamps for now, food stamps. All the different programs. I don't care what their names are. Get me all mixed up. Food stamps. I reported via what my little research revealed that there was about 68% or something, 60 something percent women with children, you know, that received food stamps, about 68% or whatever it was, and another 44% were working people. In that, I realized it didn't talk about people that's disabled. It didn't talk about senior citizens. It just talked about women with children and and what I say, and the working class. That's all it talked about. But in reality, it's more than just the women and children, the working class. It's seniors. It's um, seniors. It's disabled. Then there are. I don't know if this fits in, but I assume it would because at least here in Michigan, it goes through the state of Michigan. It's like free lunches for children, children that are in daycares. The daycare providers have these lunch. Their food is supplemented. I'm talking about daycare owners. The food for the children is supplemented through the food program, at least here in Michigan. So we're not talking about just somebody that doesn't work or however you people like to define welfare people. No, we're talking about a person that owns a business, gets supplement from at least the state of Michigan to buy food for the children that come to their daycare. You know what I'm saying? And so all of these various different programs, the school, and I don't even know. I ain't thought about like prisons and prisoners and things like that. Anyway, I'm scatterbraining. I'm all over the place. Let me come back to where I was talking about food purchases of food slowing down so much in the month of February because food stamps were released in the month of January for February, and there were not complete instructions. Only thing it said was, don't misappropriate those funds. You will not get any additional funds. It didn't say if you can leave it on the card or not. Like I said, I went and spent my little $70 because I'm like, if it's on the card, is it safe on the card? I could not get the answer. Or is it, when if the contracts are not signed, again, that's a drastic move to dispense those funds. Then maybe it's not safe sitting there. I don't know. I'm still not clear. Nobody can answer that. But anyway, I just been rambling. I apologize, y'all. You see, if I don't have notes how I talk, this is all over the place. And so now let me talk about the employees. Now, I'm sure that the people that work in the market probably don't make no lot of money. I'm going to reach and say they make $10, $12 an hour. Maybe. And I think I'm being, what's the word? I can't even think. I'm being, not liberal. What's the word I'm thinking of? I hate when I'm brain dead. I haven't been thinking today very much, just doing. But you know what I'm saying. They don't make that much money. And think about just in the state of Michigan, because I can't talk about anywhere else, how many markets there have to be or food dispensary places there have to be that accept some form of government food supplemental benefits. All over the state of Michigan. And if the majority of the people have done their shopping in January, for January and February, and won't be out there buying, then the stores won't need as many employees. At some point in time, the owners of these establishments are going to look around and be like, ain't no reason for y'all to even be here. And they could just tell them, you have time off until, next month, or it depends on what goes on, so I'm just saying to next month or the end of the month, get a week or two off. But most likely it won't be a paid week or two off. Get what I'm saying? And so we have another group, is what I've been trying to get to with all that rambling, we have another group of working Americans that have responsibilities and duties and families and cars and homes and mortgages, that they're going to feel a squeeze. They're going to feel a squeeze. And I think the word is presumptuous to think that most people, especially people that work at a grocery store, live from paycheck to paycheck. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm projecting. But they live from paycheck to paycheck. Don't want nothing to happen, because it could lead to some type of, downfall in their life or hardship in their life. And so that's what I foresee is happening. It's like, not only is this battle that's taking place in the government affecting the government employees and the contractors or subcontractors, whoever it's affecting already. And it's, again, psychologically making them or leading them to be subservient, and submissive is the word, submissive to the government, because they don't ever want to see a day like this ever again when it ends. And if this government shutdown don't end, now, if we make it to the month of February, we're talking about a lot of people having a little bit of time, maybe a little bit, I'm gonna be nice, a little bit of time off of work that they hadn't planned to have off. Now, that little bit of time off of work, if they get paid, is good. That's a good thing. But if they're not paid, then that leads to hardship. And I wonder, these people that are laid off, see, I don't foresee it being a whole lot of time that they're going to probably be laid off. I don't think this stuff is going to go on much longer. I don't think we're going to make it to February, to be honest, because it's ridiculous. But it's the stress. Like you said, it's the stress. Constantly putting people under stress and fear, worrying about their personal lives and their sense of security in this physical world. You already see me talk about the second house of Taurus. And so we got these people that are going to be stressed out. I know some of my grocery store clerks and cashiers, more, I guess, a little more personal, because I sit up there and talk to them all the time. And, we just have these exchanges. So I already know that a few of them are already stressed out. And this would take it to a whole nother level for this particular group of people. The people at my grocery store are a representative for the grocery workers around the state of Michigan and possibly around this United States that could be affected by such a thing. Now back to the store owners in the stores. If everybody spend or the majority spend their benefits this month because they're not clear about exactly what they're supposed to do, well, the stores are going to earn the money that they usually do. They're just going to earn it in a particular time frame, a shorter time period. But next month, in the month of February, they'll see the decline in the customer's flow, and also the flow of food. And I figured that wouldn't bother the stores too much, relative to like dry goods, canned goods, and frozen things. But it could affect the stores as far as like meat products, fresh products, things like that, vegetation. That's something that usually has a quick turnaround rate. So I guess they would have to somehow, talking about the grocery store owners, prepare not to order as much, maybe. See, they kind of caught, I think, like they kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because they kind of already know, the market around the block is established. So they kind of already know what to buy and how much they need to, what they need to replenish and at what point in time, because it's been this consistent flow over and over again from month to month. But with such a possibly drastic change in the month of February, that would throw them off. Another thing I was thinking about, and I've just been pondering over it, is like the business, kind of, what do you call them? Like business, what do you call it? Like laws. It's like, what is it called? Oh my God. I tell you, when I get on this thing, I'll go brain dead, especially with no notes. Gosh dang it. Quality, no, quantity, supply and demand. Supply and demand. I can't think of supply. Well, they got a supply, but I'm just talking about not the canned goods and frozen goods because they can last for a while. But like fresh meats and vegetables, the supply. Um, Again, that's what I'm talking about. They have to kind of estimate their supply. I guess I can look at the dry goods and things like that that can last. They have a supply. They already probably made their financial quota in order to pay their bills or whatever the case may be. But now we have there's the supply. Let's say an abundance of dry goods and beans and things like that, and demand. But there won't be as many people demanding those particular food items in the month. Why? Because people have already spent their benefit. I don't expect any change, any adjustment in the prices of that particular type of food. But then when you get over to the meats, what kind of effect is that gonna have? I don't know how often the grocery store has its turnover or reorder rate, but let's say what they order like next week takes them into the next month. Uh, Frozen cases of chicken breasts and things like that they kind of separate, package, and it unthaws, and then they put it out. So it's in this, all that's in this transitional stage is what I'm saying. And so again, it would have to be like they have to readjust themselves in order to service the clientele that they continuous clientele they would have. But at the same time, it's this supply and demand. Will the prices go down is what I'm trying to get. I know I'm rambling, y'all. Will the prices be lower? Because there might be so much surplus they got to get rid of it, and it'd be lower. And other foods would be high. I just been wondering this because I just remember seeing something not only in the Bible that talked about in the final days, foods is going to be real expensive. I saw that somewhere else recently, and I reported about it here on YouTube. And my thing is, what's going on seems like it could lead to enormous food prices. Is what I'm getting to. Enormous food prices. I'm just rambling, y'all. Like I said, I just came to touch base. I was thinking, and it's all for the bleed, agreed upon. Like, stuff popping up here. Nothing much. It's a whole lot of things popping up here on my screen. I can't even see. What y'all talk? Okay. So true. Relatives will be picking up the slack. Yeah, I mean, and then that really, you think? I wonder because I'm pretty much deal in reality now. Like I said, I always tell y'all, I was reared by Saturn, and that life ain't been no joke. It ain't been no crystal staircase. And I've seen families that aren't families, and they have their own interests at heart. And that is something, I mean, and then the seniors, oh my God, like seniors being by themselves. It ain't like me. If it push come to shove, I can get out here. Knees might be cracking, back might be breaking, but I can get out here. I can go do something. I can knock on a door, I can go to a food bank, whatever it takes. But a senior, it's seniors out here, ain't got no family, those kind of things, and ain't in the health to be able to get up and get out. And these are the kind of things that I think divinity actually, hi Terenzo, is pushing us to acknowledge and address about ourselves, that some folks in this world are so self-serving, self-serving and self-centered that they don't care about their parents or disabled people or Seniors that can't get out, they can have neighbors. I've had neighbors where nobody talked to them just because they were older. Oh, or old. I'll just say old. Some old. They don't talk to them. They don't care. They're too busy living. And with such threat, I really feel like, I know I'm rambling again, y'all. I apologize. But I feel like all of this is it's like to try to wake us up. It's humans creating the scenarios, the circumstances and situations that are happening. But how can I say? I don't believe that human beings can do anything that divine don't let them do. So even if somebody doing you dirty, divine allowing another to do you dirty to wake you up to something. And I think this is the case that's happening now. And it's these things that we have to realize about ourselves. The other day I made a little brief video, and it was an update to Can You Sell Your Soul to the Devil? Why did I do it? To let people know that we are not being accountable for our choices and our deeds. We're not doing that. And because we're not doing it, like relative to this, there are people that we don't feel are very important anymore, like seniors. We don't, and I told y'all in that video, I'm surrounded by seniors. There are people that can't get out here and get it themselves, and we're so self-focused. Many of us that we don't even think about them. You know, children that don't have. I mean, y'all can see my empathic side been at work. It's been at work. I say I can't stay quiet too long. Don't let my mind sit idle, because I start seeing and feeling everything. And hi Terrizzo Zip. I've been feeling everything lately, and all these scenarios run through my mind. But I'm just carving out the space and time and to let it be, and to experience it. But that's the and so what I was saying is how I think divinity allows the good and the bad to happen to, stimulate us, to wake us up, and to realize who we are, what we're capable of, come to understand that we are all co-creators in our reality, understand that we all are contributing, and come to understand that whatever we create, we will live out. And it seems like divinity is asking us all, is that how you want to live? Is that the experience that hi Juanita, that you want to have? Is that what you want to have? Is that like the history you want written? Is that what you want to experience, suffer, be a part of your lineage, those kind of things. And so all of this, what I'm talking about as far as this government shutdown, is that these are moments of that offer enlightenment. These are moments for us to have revelations, those kind of things. I'm going to read the chat a little bit. I'm not going to be on here long. Like I said, I was just going through a process, and I was thinking, and like I said, my empath is on. My empathic energy is on. What about the food banks? I wonder how that works. My neighbors are all elderly ladies who get a majority of their food from churches or things like that. And you just brought up another thing, Emily. I had this conversation too with somebody. I've been talking to everybody. I talk to everybody all the time. I'm an Aquarius. That's what we do. Sometimes. Is that the food banks do service a lot of people. And we have such negative stigmas attached to receiving life-sustaining resources from what we call charities. And y'all know how I feel about this, all of this, because I feel like we live in self-sustaining ecosystem that provided everything. Yes, there were works we were supposed to do, but not the works for man. And so the negative connotation associated with the obtaining the life sustaining resources is a pet peeve of mine. And then when you start talking about seniors who have served their time, did their works, whatever they may be in this world, and then they have to try to pull their weight to go pull some boxes, beans, and cans in so that they don't starve. That's insane to me. But if things were to go haywire, things got really abnormally extreme, I don't think it's gonna go like that. I can't believe it. There would be some type of nightmare, crazy ass movie that we would be living in. But I mean, just even a thought. Like I said, my empathic essence is activated right now. So, but that would be horrific. And I especially for seniors is what I'm trying to get to. Especially for seniors, could you imagine the? Now, even on here YouTube, I saw a video about some, what do you call it, food banks in the United States in various states where they were talking about the food bank people that ran it was saying that they can barely keep up with the demand that they have. They could barely keep up with the demand that they have. And so if, like, the discontinuation of food stamps or food assistance was to happen, people would, what do you call it, migrate to these various food banks and soup kitchens and things like that. And the lines would be extraordinarily long. Seniors would be wrestling with others to try to get something that they was, getting from the get-go, probably because they wasn't getting nothing or getting $16 or $25 or something like that in food supplements. And so, that wasn't going to feed them. So, anyway, I'm just saying that the lines at these various food banks would increase tremendously. And so all of these things, that's why I say I can't believe for once that this could go go as far as, I think it's forming stress, and that's what I'm having. Stress on people and the stress came, number one, is that they advanced people, their benefits, a whole month ahead of time because the government itself, the officials, don't have any confidence that they can resolve this issue like mature government officials, true government or our country's authority can't handle this responsibly. And so again, it just has to be it's insane, because I was even reading somewhere else online somewhere talking about how the state parks or whatever it is are being trashed. Like, what is this? This is all a setup. I mean, people can be reckless and silly and foolish to some degree, but a lot of what's going on, it kind of seemed kind of staged to me. Again, inciting fear and anxiety and desperation in people, and then, like I said, like the government officials, is to make them submissive to the authority, their boss, or the governmental agenda of the future. I don't know if that even came out right. This is definitely a rant. Yeah, that's crazy. And then another thing I was telling my kids, I couldn't even see them going out to work. They be coming home sometime at night. Like, if that was to happen, people couldn't walk out their door. There's no way. The government shutdown is an illusion. See, that's why I should have read, Terenzo. The government shutdown is illusion. Government equals control. Uh-huh. My, mind control, and the power to control minds is coming from people on the... Are y'all trying to come in here? Baby.
She want to come in.
Oh, baby. Excuse me, baby.
She want her granny.
Oh, no. Not now. Just let me right here on the YouTube. Can I have 5 seconds?
She I ain't got granny.
No, she wants some more popcorn. Take her on. Out of here. So.
You alright?
Uh-huh. I'm not gonna be here long. I just came on here to share, give a little update,
so
brief. Huh?
They hear you talking all your junk.
Yes, they did. You're interrupting. Y'all keep interrupting my
You're talking all your
my live. Get out.
Say sorry, Granny.
Bye.
You don't look like she's sorry.
Mm-mm. She waving. Learn to grow your own food. Learn thyself from within and heal thyself from problem solved, and no more excuses from any living being, and no more problems for the unborn. That would be nice. I did a video about growing your own food, Terenzo, because I wanted to grow my own food, and I did start the process. I even started the process as far as researching and actually going on quite a few nature walks in my, I could say, local area, in order to learn to identify edible plant life versus plant life that can be toxic. And what I found doing my research in my various nature walks is that much of Detroit is contaminated, including the plant life and things like that. Now, what I've noticed is that there is I guess you can call a migration of people coming back into the city of Detroit, and so there's a lot more things being planted. Like I saw palm trees. Palm trees are not indigenous of Detroit, but I've seen palm trees. So obviously there's funding or backing for these things, because these things didn't exist here. It was palm trees in one place. It was another park. I mean, most of y'all not from here, so I might as well not name the parks. I'm just tell you what I saw. Is like newly planted trees to create a forest. Another park has, like I say, like a forest of trees planted that might be like peach and plum trees. These things were not here. Now, when I was a girl, I talk about it. All of those things were here, and over time, those things were poisoned. The land was contaminated, and all of that natural plant life and berries and everything, grapevines that was in everybody's yard, and strawberries and all the pear trees and peach trees and apple trees, all that stuff died out around the same time, within the same few years. So everybody was aware that the stuff was destroyed. Like now, it was even on the news, at least the local news, that like in the city of Detroit, you know about all the blight and things like that. And so everything moves so slow. I gotta find, y'all giving me the word for this. It's like watching paint dry. You can't see the flow or the change happening. And so the flow and the change some of the things that happened in Detroit, we couldn't see happening, because it's done under the curtain, or under the rug, or behind a veil. And right now, what I'm saying is, even what's happening now in our government and in our world, a lot we can't see is being veiled from us, under the rug. Things are taking place, but it would be 5 years, 10 years from now, unless we are vigilant in understanding what's going on, before we see the results of what was really taking place at this time. Detroit, back to Detroit. Plant and garden, plant your own food. And I'm not looking at it so much from as an individual, but we're talking about a neighborhood, Torenzo, of people that say, okay, I'm going to plant my food. Like in the city of Detroit, it's not possible. In other parts of Michigan, possible if you can get the land and the resources. But the land itself is contaminated. Like when they were even when they started tearing down the houses were built in the early 1900s. So they about 70, 80 years old. A lot of them had lead based paints and things like that. Things we weren't conscious of, at least in my generation. You back? Okay. I see you when you left. You wasn't gone from it long. um. Anyway, when they demolished these homes, rather than filling the foundation up with just natural dirt and things like that, no, they crushed those materials and shoved them down in the earth. And I heard a report where they put like 3 feet of dirt on top of that. I could go out in my yard now and I could barely break through. You got to look for selective spots to even get down in the ground. If it ain't one of them, what do you call them, bobcats, bulldozers, things, kind of things, it's not coming up. It's concreted and solidified down in there. It's like they crushed up the concrete, and upon rain and snow and everything is packed down in there now. The soil is contaminated. I had some new neighbors that moved in a few years ago, and like I said, what I meant to say, it is the the Caucasian people are moving back in Detroit. So these neighbors that I'm speaking of, they're Caucasian, and they just bought the house. They renovated it and things, and they also wanted to build what you call a chicken coop thing. And so I was talking to them one day, and they talking about how they had told me and the kids go through and visit them. They knew, again, me and my kids are friendly. We all, with all the neighbors and stuff, so no different with them. We talking. And they talking about how they going to put a chicken coop up. And, so we asking questions about their process and all this kind of stuff. And do they, are they going to name them? Are they going to eat them? Are they going to keep them? Just being nosy. And so because they got used to us coming through, we talking. So as they're going through their process of building this coop, and to put their hens and rooster in, they are met with a challenge they hadn't even dreamt of. Actually, they had built the coop. They had built it already. But what end up was being a problem, that the land was contaminated. And it was so contaminated that in order for them to have put those chickens there, in order for the chicken and the eggs not to be contaminated, they had to add another three layers of dirt, because it wasn't even a sufficient amount of dirt that should have been laid there. They had another level of dirt or sod or whatever you call it, and then they had to put like the woodchucks across it. They had to build it up so many feet high in order for the chickens to even be there and for them not to be contaminated. The land was so toxic. So, I understand. We know that we should plant our own food, grow our own food. But this thing has been going on for so long. Again, I can't speak about any other area, demographic area. I can only speak from where I've been and where I've lived and where I've experienced. And here it has this deterioration of society has been going on for so long. It was going on when the middle class was being built up and people thought it was good and things were coming along, and people stopped looking at, I guess, possibly the government, especially relative to certain issues. We didn't think those things would happen. And so the generation I came up in, we weren't taught that certain things could possibly happen. We didn't know that. And many of us had to learn the hard way. And that's one of the things I think the younger generation is dealing with as well, is that they don't really have a notion. They don't have clarity that certain things can happen and it can be done or implemented by those in power. Now I'm going all off into something else. So it's grown from the inside using aquamarine. Yeah, I see that, but in the real world, a lot of people don't have those resources to um, direct direct to that. Like, what am I talking about, y'all? If somebody watching later, I'm talking about how Teresa was saying about growing inside and using aquariums. That is for, I mean, we're talking about a food supply, supplementing the food supply for a month. Because I do believe in, you can, if you have the resources, and I'm not saying they have to be extensive, but if you got the right resources and you can work it right, I believe that you can move forward providing your food fairly successfully. Like, I, again, I live near Detroit, so it's the Detroit River. Fishing, you can go fishing there and supplement your diet in that way. But of course, it costs for the fishing license. They make sure they get you everywhere. And then one year they scared me so bad. When I say they, I'm talking about some type of government movement that was acted out. Scared me so bad till I didn't even want to eat any fish out of the river. I ain't even talking about the mercury reports. I made it through that. But one year, this is about 5 or 6 years ago. A lot. I know a lot of people that like to go fishing, and so they went fishing this one Sunday. I want to say it was on a Sunday, and I didn't go, but they called me over. Come on, girl, we having a fish fry. I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. And it's supposed to be a limit of the amount of fish. But every time they threw their pole in, it was so many fish. And again, it was something that was all over Facebook. Some people was talking about. It was so many fish. It was abnormal amounts of fish. Abnormal to the point I felt like they had, and I'm talking about whatever officials had put something into the water to increase the fertility of the fish. When I say it was abnormal, like it was scary. Like the fish was like pouring out they sinks. People on faces pouring it out. Everything was pouring out everywhere. There's fish every goddamn where. It was incredible. And they say they wanted to stop, but it was unbelievable how the fish was like practically jumping out of the water. And it was so many of them. And so I'm like, okay, don't worry about it, Nancy, because I'm funny. I'm fat, but I'm funny. So that was the first thing. So now the fish fry on. They really out in the fish fries. That many fish. People had them fish, I'm talking about across the city. I keep my ears to the street. Stored, cleaned and stored up and froze for a long time. It was so many during that period. And so now we having the fish fry. I'm sitting over my friend house, and we eating, and she bring me fish, and I'm sitting up there eating. And I'm raised by old school. I shared last live stream. My mom was born in 1937 in West Virginia. I think her mom was born in 1914 or something like that, 1912 or something. And I knew my grandma, so I was really raised with people with a just an old school kind of mindset. And I forgot I was gonna say. I just been talking so goddamn much. Oh, and so we grew up on fish. Uncle's fish, my grandma fish, my mom. We go fishing and do things. And so we would fry fish and different things like that. And one of the things that was a treat was like the tail of the fish or the fins. When you fry them, they were like a potato crisp or chip or something. Amazing. So we got all this fish, and she's frying it up, and she asked me what I want. Of course, I want the tail. So she gives me the tail, and thank you. And y'all, and she's old. She down south woman. She could cook her behind off, but them fins and them tails, I could not bite. You couldn't bite through them. You couldn't break through them. I was done there. Couldn't eat no more. She's like, that's it. I said, that's it. We couldn't bite through them. When I couldn't bite through that, I was done. I said something wrong. Number one was too many fish, and then the fins you couldn't even break. And so I even tried to nibble on the end. Couldn't even get to the end. I was like, oh no, something wrong. And so what I'm gonna talk about, I'm just talking about how our system has set it up. It might not be all over the place because there are some beautiful places in this world that I've visited, and I did not have the same experience. But I'm telling you, as a lifelong Detroiter, the stuff they put here, and it obviously it has to probably has been done so in most urban or condensed areas. It's some strange things in Detroit, you know. And I know, again, that it's not widespread because I have traveled all over the world. And it's some beautiful places. But I can honestly say, is Detroit possibly one of the little testing grounds? You know, I know some stuff about that too. But, I mean, they never stop. That my concern here in Detroit is they never stop. Do what they call it? Gentrifying, gentle fine. You know what I'm talking about. They never stop wanting to destroy the people here. No matter, I mean, they destroy everything here. Everything they have, you know, done so many things in Detroit as far as architecture. I mean, we got a great historical sites and history and all of that, but it's all just a phantom or a ghost or a tale now because over the years so much has been done to destroy the whole landscape. And it's crazy because, again, living in Detroit, we're right here at Detroit waterfront, the waterways. That's big marketing, merchant and movement, and it has to do with the economics. That waterway got to deal with international dealings. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. Right along the Detroit River, when you roll through there, I don't know how it's hooked up, St. Clair or whoever out there, is salt. You can see the salt mines, the coal mines. So we know it's big money. Why were they so interested in destroying the land? Once you I guess make the land toxic, that's hard to restore. Gentrification. Thank you. You know, I know you. Okay, thank you. You know, that's hard to restore. And that's one of, again, I'm in my empathic state, feeling stuff, having to work through it. And to think that people could be so greedy, so selfish, so malevolent that they want to destroy something and they don't even stop to think about the effects it has on others or the future, or you know, it's insane. I see, Yoni. I see ya. You see, they got you blocked too, right? I hope that show back up later. I'm not going to release that, but yeah, it's insane. Um, radioactive debris, yeah, and power plants are still leaking radioactive stuff, right? It is, and the other parts of this world have been reserved as paradise, left untouched. And I understand that because you know, anything untouched, its value stays. It you know, and its stability as far as the land is stable. But just what has happened, and you know, I've been to Chicago, but I ain't been to Chicago. You know, I've been to other inner city places, what I'm trying to say, but I ain't been to the inner city places. See, I live in Detroit, so I walk the streets like it's nothing. I go anywhere I want, anytime I want, where I want, who I want, and look how I want. And I don't have a problem with the people. I understand the people. I understand the issues that they deal with. And I also see the works of people that have the money. We're not talking about the people that lived here, were residents of the city of Detroit in the last 40 years, basically. I'll say they didn't have the money to invest here. They did not. I not too long ago, Detroit was a ghost town. I don't care where you went, Detroit was a straight ghost town. And it was because people did not have the money to invest. The only folks that invest there, I ain't gonna say it because you two gonna kick me off. So I'm gonna just leave it clean. But you could just imagine who invested in the city. But it was a double standard, I'll say that. And so that couldn't be too beneficial. But now there are a lot more investors here, I'll say. And everything is changing. But this, it still stands, whether they realize it or not, that the land is contaminated. 100% contaminated. And that's why they're busy trying to dig up some of these bushes and shrubs and things, because they know when I did my little nature walk around, even the bushes were contaminated. What was the one with my yard that was all over the place? Black Nightingale. I can't remember. I got my book somewhere. I had to wait for spring to come to get my nature walk on and research on. But every single bush, shrub, and branch in my backyard was some type of poisonous or toxic plant life. I was like, and the only thing that I found in my immediate neighborhood that could possibly have been used to help a human being sustain their life was Queen Anne's lace. And that was it. The Queen Anne's lace had the root, like it was a part of the carrot family, and you could consume the root, cook it, make tea, do different things like that. And the seeds at a certain time in its bloom could be used for birth control. That was the only thing I saw. But it was strange because it was mixed in with the what's that? That was Earl and god dang, hemlock, which is poisonous. So they side by side, and so you have to have a keen eye to pick the right one and not poison yourself. And so I go pull up the Queen Anne's lace, and I also pulled up the hemlock, and I'm looking at the roots, and the roots versus what I saw in my research, the roots were nothing like that. Why? Because the actual land is contaminated, so they couldn't grow to their fullest potential. It still wasn't enough down there to sustain yourself. I mean, this is deep. And then to think that, man, see, it take a person that followed me. If it's one person that followed me since I began my channel and watched all the videos associated with social issues and physical concerns, issues and spiritual issues and concerns and things like that, they would really see where how I see the world, because these things have been going on for so long. And I forgot, scatterbrain again. But I've been really thinking about how, who are these people? Who could a person be that they would so anxiously and desperately want to hurt another? They just don't make no sense to me. There's something wrong. And then I've been consistently thinking about how everything in this earth holds some type of value, wealth, accumulative is wealth. And I realized just in this last week, when I was doing my research and doing the meditation and the empath thing started coming on, is that our souls are the most priceless things in existence. And obviously it's so priceless relative to this realm about something. Because there's some folks that really want to lead us to be in such a negative space that we don't ascend. We don't ascend. And it's hard for me to talk about these things without organizing my thoughts. But they don't want us to ascend. They don't want us to be in a higher vibrational frequency. And the strange thing is that we are, when I say we, I'm talking people, seem to be confused, and we think we are functioning in a higher vibrational frequency. But in actuality, I know we're not. I know we're not. Even though I am obese, I still agree that in being a vegetarian or minimizing because animals have souls, I believe that. And so it's me having to overcome my weaknesses and my limitations. But I realize to consume an animal is low vibrational. You know what I'm saying? Just everything to uh, have to live so lavishly is low vibrational. To not be able to care about those that don't have, I'll say, the power that they used to, or the potential power that a human can have. Again, disabled, seniors, children, whoever. Um, and not think of that as something that's important, not to prioritize making sure that particular, groups, those particular groups in humanity are taken care of, lets me know just how low vibrational we are. But we think that we're high vibrational folks because we go to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. We turn up, we look good, we wear the best, we got our struts on, our hair laid, and we drive in a fly car, we got a nice house and it's clean. Booyah. We got that. But that's not being high vibrational. That is so temporary. It's beautiful now. I love it. I do. But getting real, again, it's hard for me to articulate what I'm trying to say, especially if I haven't ordered my thoughts. But to understand that the soul is priceless, the state of the soul can be or will be influenced or impacted by the experience you have while you're in this physical body, whether it's good or bad. It will be impacted. And to think that we humans are not even acknowledging that we have a soul. Either the animation, the spark of life is in us and we're animated, going and doing, just dressing, popping bottles, doing whatever, or it's gone. But we don't have no concern for it. That's interesting. And to come to understand that part is priceless. It is priceless. It's divine. And we ignore it. We ignore it in ourselves. We ignore it in others. We'll destroy the earth, the land, anything, in order to satisfy our own selfish needs and desires. I'm not being funny. That's where I see all the astrological energy and all the information that I see is surrounded. It seems like it's telling a story about how divinity is trying to allow us to be waking up again by being shaken by those unsavory people. They playing a role. They saying, "Hey, humanity, wake up." But if you don't wake up, I'll get you. I get you. Either wake up or I'm gonna get you. And divinity is saying, I don't force you to be nothing in particular. You get to choose. You got that free will. You can choose. And so there is a level of free will. I'm just rambling, y'all. I'm just rambling. And again, I'm going through that empath thing, working through it. But there is a level of free will. But the free will seems to be on the highest expression of consciousness. Free will, what am I saying? Free will don't exist down here. Whatever you select down here was offered to you. I don't know how many various patterns. When I say patterns, I'm talking about fabric prints exist. We can say it's 10,000 different patterns in the world. You still got to choose from that 1 to 10,000. I don't know how many various pairs of glasses are made in the world, but how many ever there is. That if it's 500, you can only choose whatever 1 out of 500 or whatever you can afford out of the 500 that offer. And so when I'm talking about free will, I'm talking about on an overall level, consciousness. That's something else I've been wanting to talk about, consciousness. And consciousness is this way I'm seeing it, because I get a lot of information. Y'all hear me say something? I get these downloads, and it just becoming all this information. And so, this government, what they call it, government shutdown, and all this triggering, it got me going, triggering and meditating and thinking, and it's coming in, and the exchange of people. So, again, I'm in my empathic state. So, but it's this consciousness that exists. And consciousness, we can say, is divinity. God, whoever it is conscious. It's everything that ever it has been, was, will be. It's conscious. And that conscious consists of the bad, the good, and the ugly. And we have, it appears to me, that we have the free will to choose the type of consciousness we want to manifest in this physical world. And there are either people or entities that have an interest in bringing or manifesting the negative consciousness into this physical world. That's not where I think we've been historically. That's not where we've been. We've been some mighty ugly dark places, but I think we were slowly being led to incarnate the darkest consciousness. Consciousness. Could you think of something that's just like a thought, a thought that knows all the ins and out of any possible thing, including evil and darkness. It just seems like that to me, that we've been walked slowly, like watch a paint dry, consistently moving and flowing in a direction, and we're not aware that we're going there. We think we're high vibrational again because we popping bottles, but the reality is we are not. And again, somebody intentionally is directing our hand or our choice, and it is to manifest darkness. And everything that has been taking place in this world is helping to usher that energy in. I am so serious, because think back when I was into the church and it was talking about hell. I told y'all I ain't believe in no physical hell. Mental, yeah. Physical hell, like here on earth, here in hard times, difficulty, hardship, yeah. But not a place you die and go to. I didn't believe in that. But now, in a way, I do. I don't believe it as just an isolated, separate dimension, even though I dreamt it like that. It is a state of mind, and it is a state of existence, as far like here. I realize now that we can create here in this physical world heaven or hell. Again, I got that because I've traveled the world extensively, and I've seen heaven. I've experienced heaven, even here, like I say, in the ghetto. I've experienced heaven, so I know heaven can be experienced here. I know ecstasy and bliss can be experienced here. I also know it's short-lived. But then I've also experienced states of hell. Oh my God. And those are the ones that don't seem like it want to end. It's so heavy, it drags on and on forever. So that's when people talk about hell being for eternity, because it lasts forever. You ever had a hard time and it just seemed like it was never going to end? It was nothing you could do to get out of it? That's hell. Well, y'all, I'm going to read these chat things, and then I'm going to get off here. Thank you for letting me come here and just blah, 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 blah. I ain't seen blah, blah on here either. That's another you do. No, the baby didn't say blah, blah. All up in my business. Wanted to buy the house, but we copped it first, since the house has been rented, and I moved and bought another house. All right, you've been on the move. I say this because 3 years ago my house was bought. What? One was hurt, but we had to fix the house, and oh wow, only a narcissist hurts for no reason. Only a narcissist hurts for no reason. That's a subject matter that needs to be looked into a little deeper to really dive into these narcissists. We think it just something else is going on. And one thing that's become clear to me as well is talking about God's. I got all this rambling y'all hear me do. I got a lot of notes all over the place where I say I'm gonna make a video or a live and come talk to y'all, but it takes so much energy. And so if I don't go follow through and write out my little outline and come to y'all and sit up here and be on my best behavior, this is what you get. This is me. And so I also have a lot of notes about again, these downloads I get, it's the information I get, and it's like the cross-referencing all the information that I get exposed to, and at certain points it's like kind of overwhelming, and then you see me here rambling and ranting and doing all these kind of things and not making sense and double talking and not, going back, not making no sense and starting again. So here I am. And so another thing that I got clarity on, it seems like it was saying, when I say it's the download, give the message and clarify. Trump is getting that wall. I hope he do. If it need, give the man the wall. Give the United States the wall if it's necessary in order to process the people in and out effectively. This doesn't make any sense to me. If it's necessary, if it is what is needed in order to do things professionally and effectively and practically, then it should be done. And so that's what leads me to say it's something else. I feel again that it's something else. I think they just use this to again harass citizens, whether they're of the world, citizens of the world, whether they're Hispanic or whether they're Americans, because it doesn't make any sense. Now, we ain't had other problem building no other structure or institution or nothing. Now, it's all of this about a wall. That it says $5 billion to the United States government is a pocket change. Exactly. And then the reality is, once again, that when you start talking about international works and things like that, they don't even work in money. So are they seeing that in natural resources? See, to build a wall, it takes resources, materials. So if we're talking about $5 billion, we're talking about a percentage of that is for materials. Then, of course, the people who do the work, that perform the labor, you got to give them their salary or wage. And so my whole point of saying that is everything is not greenbacks. Everything is not money. We're talking about materials. Let's say out of them $5 billion, $4 billion is for materials. Guess who harvested the materials that have been used to build and sustain this country? It's been me. It's been you. It's been our families and friends. We all have done it. Now, I can say this. Reason why we can't see that we did it, because so much of the work was outsourced. When I say that, what do I mean? I'm saying that there are people that usually earn considerably more to actually go down, dig and mine and bring things up, or to drill. And over the years, over the decades, we put those people became more specialized, or what do you call it, tradesmen. They became tradesmen over time. And so people that had these trades and earned considerable amount of money, or I would say this, maybe like the person that got them together, their employer, and what do you call somebody that pulls people together? I can't think. Again, I'm not here to with notes, but what I'm saying is that they have an invested interest in whatever natural resource or commodity that is herded or hoarded. And so they want to, remember, they have an interest in those things. And so they may have a little of the commodity or natural resources. But the people that they employ to go drill and mine, they don't get the gold they pull up out of there. They don't get the oil they pull up out of there. No, they get big fiat. They get big money. And therefore they have big line of credit. And so what do? Because their lifestyles consume their finances, their earnings. And so many of them say, hey, I'll invest, for an example, and I'll buy a franchise. I'll buy a franchise in order to make the money residual. And so some folk like me and you, we are the managers and employees of the franchise. And I've talked about this before in the video I created a few years back called Your Ass is Grass Due to the World's Greatest Pyramid Scheme. And so while we are allowing a certain class to maintain their freedom to go harvest the natural resources, and we sustain their lifestyles through running their small businesses or franchises. My point is saying we indirectly are, they outsourced their responsibility to us to bring in the money that they need to sustain their life and their lifestyle. It also allowed them to go do the bigger work, the higher paying work, the more influential work, which was stripping the earth of all her natural resources. In order to do what? Build a wall. Or what? Build a machine to dig another well somewhere else. So we all contributed. I wish I could make this make sense. Not without sitting down, organizing my thoughts. But we all contributed to this. And all I'm saying is that it's not necessarily $5 billion. It's some of them billions is in the resources needed to build the wall. Do those things not already exist? Have they already been harvested somewhere? You know what I'm saying? Are they spread out? I don't know how I go what's needed, but at 10,000 what they call it? The hardware place, 10,000 Home Depots all over the world to build this bridge. My whole point is the resources are already harvested. So it's bull crap is what I'm trying to say. It's some type of bull crap there already. People in the finest clothes are the most ghetto, stealing everywhere to go. Zip says you are doing a second video on when you sold your soul to the devil. I did a little second video. That was another one where I just was kind of overwhelmed with information. And I don't know what to share because I feel like every time I make a video, again, this YouTube thing suggests videos that are similar to the videos that I make. So I'm like, what the use for? I'm like, Divine, show me something that is not really been covered much. Give me that. I don't want to keep talking about the same thing everybody talk about. It's already been said. What has been something need not be explained. What's understood needs not be explained. And so I'm sure that many of us have come to understand a lot of these things that were once unclear. And so it doesn't have to be explained over and over again. I kind of feel like it's this urgency that we need to know the right things right now so we can move forward. But that's just me. I'm not divinity. It's divine time, and I guess I got to wait on. No. Yeah. It should be called the government mental instability, not the shutdown. Yeah, I mean, they like, it's amazing. And you think, but these are the world officials, the government authorities. I mean, the authorities. That's wild to me. Like that's some serious stuff. No, I don't think he's going to fold. I mean, what we know about him is that he's wealthy. He came from a wealthy background. I think they said, I read before, that his family owned a vineyard or something. I don't remember. I read so much, but he's not a man that has ever had to struggle. And see, y'all hear me talk about the spirits that dwell within or can walk in, take possession. And so the spirits that he has been exposed to are not the same spirits the rest of humanity has been exposed to. And you can tell in his character and in his works. And so he has no way to be empathetic to anyone. And the truth of the matter is, barely to the upper class can he be, because he's in a whole different, what do they call it, he's in a whole different realm. Literally, he's in a whole different realm. I don't even know how to explain it. See, it's stuff I would like to talk about, and it's hard to talk when it's just you talking. But if you got somebody to bounce off back and forth, you can kind of get it out. But like, what's the dimension? He's in his own different dimension. We see him, we experience him, but he's in his own dimension, having an exchange with entities that he knows. These entities are not going to openly introduce themselves to us because we don't have the void that they need or that they can occupy. Trump has it, and it would take you to be in a person's company and to really pay attention to see, when I be talking about these spirits and entities and demons and stuff, see what I'm really talking about. And so I do believe, based on what I can see, is that he doesn't have the capacity to be empathetic toward people. We are not like him. He's different, and he's different on a spiritual level. I'm not talking about anything physical. Donald Trump is different on a spiritual level. That which is in him and animates him, that which keeps company with him, is foreign to us. Some people might say alien. It's alien to us. It has no empathy. If I'm wrong, I will be so shocked to see that. But again, only time will tell. The divine timing. Said the money will go back into our country. As they change, back into the country. They are only authority because they threaten us with guns. And that's a whole nother thing. That's what I'm saying about this government shutdown and how it's affecting the government employees, is that they got to keep control. They ain't worried about right now keeping control over the masses. They're worried about keeping the control over their employees, namely, specifically, military, various branches of military, police, because they need enforcement. If they don't have enforcement, they cannot enforce their agenda. Period. The other day when I did a live stream, I talked about how all the farmers across the land, all the store owners can say, this is it. We ain't going one bit higher. We're not going to do it. This is a set price. Y'all don't worry about it. If we say we don't accept money as it is anymore. Heck, money could be a paper bag, tow it, write your $10 bill on it, and bring it on to me. This is our new currency. There's nothing that they can do. Long as we agree. You remember in the Bible talking about like minds, everybody having a like mind. If we all get on the one accord, there's nothing they can do. So they have to make sure that a division a divide exists in not just United States, but in the world overall, people all across the world. Hi, Jordan. Nothing. You didn't miss me stuttering and rambling, and sneezing, rubbing my nose, digging up my nose. Just nothing. Just talking. Just talking, trying to organize my thoughts. I just talked a little bit about the government shutdown a little bit more and how it's impacting different areas of the working class, and how this just doesn't make any sense, not on a basic level. It does not. um, and I was just talking about how I believe Donald Trump is not inside that which sits with him in his vessel is not what we would consider human. I do believe he's working with a more ancient energy. I'm not saying he alien or nothing like that. I'm saying he has incarnated into this human form, took on one of these human bodies. He got his body. But that which really is seated in him, it's not like, basic everyday Jane and Joe's. He's not. He has had a whole different set of life experiences that has cultivated what can come into him and what cannot come into him. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. I had that much to say. I plan to be here on here for 15 minutes. But I had so much I guess I had to talk about. So I thank y'all. I'm about to get off this live stream for now. I might be back later. It's only 11 o'clock in the evening. The baby's still out here talking. Now she sound like a duck, y'all. Let me go be a grandma. Bye.